Just a nurse. Patricia Bennett stirred her tea with the kind of precision only disdain could fuel. A nurse, she said, voice coated in condescension. How quaint. I smiled politely from across the table, a routine I'd perfected at her weekly family teas. Sarah's about to finish her residency, she continued as always. Soon she'll be a real doctor. She meant my sister-in-law. The golden child. The pride of the Bennett name. What Patricia didn't know was that for the past 5 years, I'd been working night shifts as a nurse, while secretly putting myself through medical school. My name is Emma Thompson. I'm 32, and I've learned to let Patricia's jabs bounce off me. My husband, Mike, knew the truth. He respected my choice to keep my studies private until I reached my goal, on my terms. Sarah just got an offer from Memorial General, Patricia beamed. The youngest neurology resident in their history. But of course, we always knew she was exceptional. I nodded, thinking of the letter in my desk at home, offering me the position of medical director of emergency and trauma services at that very hospital. I'd gone from nurse to doctor, specializing in emergency medicine, while still pulling shifts to fund my education. But to Patricia, I was still just the woman who married her son. Never quite enough. She leaned in, lowering her voice. You know, it's not too late to advance your career. Sarah could help you become a physician's assistant. She'd love to mentor you. Before I could reply, Mike entered. Mom, Emma's got a meeting this afternoon. Patricia waved dismissively. More nursing duties, I'm sure. Though I don't see why they need so many meetings. If only she knew. I was headed to Memorial General to finalize my new leadership role. On the drive, Mike rested his hand on mine. You know Mom's going to lose her mind when she finds out. Sarah starts next week, I reminded him. Let her settle in. I'll wait until I'm established. Mike chuckled. You're too generous. After everything she's said to you. Shrugged. She once gave me a kid's book called So You Want to Be a Doctor? For Christmas. I was halfway through med school then. Mike laughed. Or that time she tried setting you up with a doctor at her country club. Her face when I said I was happily married to my brilliant wife. The hospital came into view. Sleek glass walls catching the afternoon sun. Soon I'd walk through those doors as Dr. Thompson, head of the department, not just an ER doc. I was chosen because I had something rare. First-hand experience as both nurse and physician. Mom's knee surgery is next month, Mike said as we parked. Guess which department she's being transferred to for post-op recovery. Pause. Our department, he grinned. Sometimes karma nails the timing. The first few weeks were a whirlwind. I revamped emergency protocols, launched training programs, and earned respect from my team. My nursing background gave me insight most directors lacked. Sarah began her residency. We barely crossed paths. When we did, she was cordial but distant, probably still processing that her brother's nurse wife was now her superior. Then came Patricia's surgery. I was reviewing files when my assistant knocked. Dr. Thompson, there's an issue with a post-op patient in room 204. They're requesting the director. Room 204. Patricia's room. I grabbed my coat and stethoscope, already anticipating the scene. Inside, Patricia sat upright, berating a nurse. I demand to see someone in charge. I requested my daughter oversee my recovery. That would be me, Mrs. Bennett, I said as I stepped in. Her head whipped toward me. Emma. Where's the department director? You're looking at her, I said calmly. I'm Dr. Thompson, Medical Director of Emergency and Trauma. Now, what seems to be the issue? Patricia opened her mouth, then closed it again. No words. The nurse explained she was refusing her therapy until Sarah approved it. Mrs. Bennett, I said, using her formal name. Dr. Sarah Bennett is a neurologist, not involved in post-op care. Your recovery plan was created by our orthopedic team. It's crucial we begin your therapy now. But you're a nurse, she said weakly. I was a nurse, I corrected. Then I became a doctor. Now I lead this department. Her face flushed. How long? Since 5 years ago. I didn't say anything because I wanted to do it my way. Quietly. Without the noise. She looked down, genuinely ashamed. All those times I told you to advance your career. I already was, I said gently. I just didn't need to prove it to anyone. I turned to the nurse. Let's proceed. Then to Patricia. Full cooperation, please. We're here to help you recover. She gave a small nod. Patricia never apologized, but something shifted that day. Her tone softened. She even thanked me before discharge. Sarah. She remained quiet, perhaps still trying to reconcile the facts. But I didn't need validation. Not from Sarah. Not even from Patricia. I hadn't built my career to prove anyone wrong. I built it to prove myself right. And I had as your medical director. I'll be overseeing your recovery personally. I turned to leave, but Patricia's voice stopped me. Emma, Dr. Thompson, I owe you an apology. I paused at the door, then turned back. No, Mrs. Bennett. You don't owe me anything. Just focus on healing. That evening, I returned to my office to find Sarah waiting outside. So, she began, arms crossed. When were you going to tell us? Tell you what? I asked, unlocking my door. She followed me in, gesturing around. That you're the medical director. That you're essentially my boss. I sat behind my desk. For once, Sarah didn't have her usual confidence. It was announced in the hospital newsletter, I said with a light shrug. She sighed, then smiled. Mom's mortified. After all her bragging, it turns out her nurse daughter-in-law outranks both of us. This was never about titles, Sarah. No, she agreed, softening. It's about determination. I'm actually impressed. Working full-time while finishing med school? That's incredible. For the first time since we became family, we really talked. She opened up about the pressure to meet their mother's expectations, and I shared stories about late-night studying after 12-hour shifts. When she left, something had shifted between us. 3 months later, I stood at the podium at the hospital's annual gala, delivering a speech on the successful merger of our emergency and trauma departments. In the crowd, Mike smiled proudly. Sarah listened attentively. And Patricia, fully recovered, watched me with an unfamiliar look. Pride. When I began my career in healthcare, I said, I was told I should know my place. That being a nurse was enough. But I've learned that every role in healthcare matters. And understanding more than one makes you stronger. After the speech, Patricia approached me. That was remarkable, Emma, she said sincerely. Though I suspect I wasn't the only one who needed to hear it. She looked around the room, at the other physicians and executives, then back at me. I've been thinking a lot during recovery. About everything I said to you over the years. Patricia, it's in the past. No, she interrupted. Let me finish. I was wrong. Not just about you, but about what success truly looks like. I was so focused on titles, I never saw the brilliance right in front of me. Mike joined us and wrapped an arm around me. Mom bragged about you at her country club last week, he said. Called you her brilliant daughter-in-law. Patricia actually blushed. Well, I can't be blamed for being proud now, though maybe I should have been all along. Sarah arrived with champagne. Are we finally toasting to the fact that Emma made us all look like underachievers? She joked, handing out flutes. Because I've been waiting for this. We all laughed. For the first time it felt natural. Real. To Emma, Patricia said, raising her glass. Who taught me that success isn't about where you start, but how far you're willing to go. And to family, I added. Who can still surprise you. The next week I found a framed set of photos on my desk. My first day as a nurse, my med school graduation, and a photo of me at my current desk. A note from Patricia was tucked behind it. A reminder that every step matters. Thank you for showing me that. I hung it proudly in my office. It became a conversation starter with new nurses unsure of their own paths. The hospital thrived. Sarah and I began collaborating, combining neurology and emergency medicine to improve stroke response. We even co-authored a paper. And to everyone's surprise, Patricia began volunteering at the hospital's family support center. I learned from the best, she'd say when asked. One evening, during our now regular family dinners, I watched her show Mike's baby photos to my ER staff, smiling with a warmth that finally included me. You know, Emma, she said later, helping with the dishes, I always wanted my children to be extraordinary. I just never expected to learn what that really meant from you. Smiled. Sometimes, I said, the best achievements are the ones you never plan. Like having a mother-in-law admit she was wrong, she teased. Like discovering family can grow stronger through change, I replied. As I rejoined Mike and the others, I caught his eye and saw my own contentment reflected there. Success wasn't just about position, it was about perspective. And sometimes the greatest victory wasn't in proving others wrong, but in showing them a better way forward.